We want to bring our soldiers back home. These are the endless wars. And we're not fighting, we're policing to a large extent. We're policing in certain areas. We're not police.
As soon as U.S. President Donald Trump said he would pull the country's troops out of northern Syria, his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan decided to send army to the Turkey-Syria border. Trump says the U.S. should not be responsible for policing the area. And his decision was even considered a green light for Turkey's military offensive against America's longtime Kurdish allies.
This move, or green light, that Trump gave to Turkey will actually complicate the crisis in the region.
But in the twist, as a ceasefire reached in northeast Syria has mostly held, the U.S. president suddenly changed his mind.
The nations in the region must ultimately take on the responsibility of helping Turkey and Syria police their border. We want other nations to get involved. We've secured the oil, and therefore a small number of U.S. troops will remain in the area where they have the oil.
Media in the U.S. report that the Defense Department has drawn up a plan to send hundreds of U.S. soldiers and possibly even a battalion of tanks to oil fields in Syria's eastern region. Fox News says the document is waiting for the president's approval, which it says is likely. The plan reportedly involves bringing a half of an army armored battalions, which could include up to 30 Abrams tanks. If true, it would be the U.S. first use of tanks in the Syrian conflict since the war broke out in 2011.
Let me just say that the troops, we have troops in towns in northeast Syria that are located next to the oil fields. The troops in those towns are not in the present phase of withdrawal.
Those oil fields are currently under the control of the Kurdish Syrian Democratic Forces.
We've secured the oil, and therefore a small number of U.S. troops will remain in the area.
Washington says it will work together with the SDF to prevent them from falling into the hands of Islamic State. But the claim contradicts the U.S. president declaring victory over them at the end of last year. On December 19th, he tweeted that we have defeated ISIL in Syria, my only reason for being here during the Trump presidency. Well, Trump also said that, quote, it's time for our troops to come back home. American troops in Syria may be wondering when their president will finally commit to a concrete decision.